The first thing my mom did was send a selfie. Not of the beach, not of the hotel, of her and my sister, Kendra, in matching straw hats, big smiles, cheeks pressed together like they'd just won something. The caption said, "Family time. Wish you were here, but you understand." I stared at my phone in the employee break room, still wearing my grocery store name tag, still smelling like cardboard and floor cleaner. The fluorescent lights above me hummed like they were laughing too. I did understand. I understood that when you're the reliable one, people treat you like a background feature. Like the Wi-Fi. Like the couch. Like the thing that's always there and doesn't have feelings. And I understood something else too. They weren't just taking a vacation. They were taking my life for granted. So I typed back, "Looks fun.
Enjoy. Don't worry about me."
Then I clocked out, walked to my car, and sat there with both hands on the steering wheel like I was about to drive through a wall. I didn't. I inhaled slowly, exhaled slower, and I decided I was done being the house's unpaid caretaker and the family's designated understanding daughter. Because the truth was, the house wasn't even theirs the way they acted like it was. It was ours on paper, my name, my mom's name, and my dad's name. A messy, everyone contributes kind of arrangement that started after Dad's health scare 2 years ago, when I moved back in to help. I didn't mind helping. I loved my parents. But somewhere along the line, helping became expected. Then it became demanded. Then it became invisible. It started with little things. "Alana, can you cover the internet bill this month?" "Kendra's saving." "Alana, can you handle the new fridge payment?" "Your dad's hours got cut." "Alana, can you just pick up the couch?" "It'll be easier if you do it." At first, I kept receipts because I'm the kind of person who keeps receipts. Then I started keeping them because I could feel something shifting. Like the ground wasn't steady anymore. And when the vacation announcement happened, when Mom clapped her hands at dinner and said, "We're finally doing it. Orlando. A full week." I actually smiled. Until she added, "But it's only 3 tickets, honey."
Kendra needs this.
"You'll be okay. Be understanding." Kendra didn't even look embarrassed. She just twirled spaghetti like she was in a commercial and said, "I mean, Alana doesn't even like crowds." I don't. But that wasn't the point. The point was, I'd been paying for the family while being treated like the staff. So I smiled, nodded, and played my usual role. "Of course," I said. "Have fun." Then I excused myself, went upstairs, closed my door, and stared at the ceiling until my eyes burned. That night, I opened the folder under my bed. Receipts. Statements. Warranty cards. Delivery emails. My couch. My washer and dryer. My microwave. My TV. My internet account. Even the dining table chairs I ordered after Dad's back got bad, and he couldn't sit on the hard wooden ones anymore. I'd bought those things because I wanted a comfortable home. But I was the only one treating it like a home. Everyone else treated it like something they were entitled to. I didn't sleep much. The next morning, I took my lunch break and made 2 phone calls. First, the internet provider. "Hi," I said pleasantly, because I'd learned that being calm gets you further than being furious. "I need to cancel service effective immediately." "Yes, I'm the account holder." "Yes, I can verify." The representative asked if I was moving. I paused, then said, "In a way." Second, the storage company 5 minutes from my job. They had a climate-controlled unit available. It wasn't cheap, but neither was being treated like a doormat. Then I called someone I trusted, my friend Marisol, who ran a small moving business with her brothers. They were the kind of people who worked hard, kept their word, and didn't play games. Marisol picked up on the second ring. "Girl, you okay? You sound quiet." "I need a favor," I said. "Name it." "I need to move some things while my family's out of town." There was a beat of silence. Then she said softer, "Oh, it's like that." "It's like that," I confirmed. "Okay," she said. "No judgment. Just tell me what day." I looked at the calendar on my phone. My family's trip was Monday to Sunday. Today was Tuesday. "I want it done by Friday," I said. "Done." Marisol replied immediately. "We'll do it clean. Professional. No drama." I swallowed hard. Thank you. Alana, she said, you don't owe people your peace just because you share DNA. That sentence landed in my chest like a heavy, warm brick. I didn't cry.
Not yet.
I spent the next 2 days moving like a person on a mission. At work, I smiled at customers and scanned groceries. I made small talk. I laughed at jokes that weren't funny. I did everything normal, but inside, I was building something, like a dam holding back years of swallowed anger. On Thursday night, after my shift, I drove home and walked through the house slowly. The living room looked exactly like the one from Mom's selfie. The same couch, the same throw pillows I'd bought on clearance, the same coffee table with the tiny scratch Kendra made and never admitted. The kitchen light flickered like it always did because Dad kept saying he'd get to it. I touched the fridge door. The stainless steel felt cold under my fingertips. This place had been my sacrifice, and it was about to become my lesson. I went upstairs, packed my clothes into suitcases, and stacked everything neatly. I didn't slam drawers. I didn't rage. I didn't leave a mess. I moved like someone who had finally decided she deserved dignity. Friday morning, Marisol's truck rolled up right after dawn. No loud music. No shouting. Just the soft thud of boots on pavement and the quiet efficiency of people who knew what they were doing. Marisol walked in, took one look at my face, and pulled me into a tight hug. You sure? She murmured. I looked around the living room, my living room, the one I paid for, and felt something steady in my stomach. I'm sure. Her brothers got to work. They wrapped the TV, lifted the couch, disconnected the washer and dryer carefully, like surgeons, unplugged the microwave, loaded the air fryer Dad loved but never once cleaned. Every time something left the house, it felt like a weight slid off my shoulders. When the internet router came off the shelf, I held it for a second, almost laughing at how small it looked for how much it represented. So many nights I'd paid for the connection while sitting alone in my room, hearing my family downstairs, watching movies on the streaming accounts I also paid for. By noon, the house looked strange. Not empty yet, but hollowed out in a way that made the walls echo. We left the basic necessities, Dad's recliner, their beds, their clothes, their kitchen dishes. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't trying to hurt them. I was trying to stop being hurt. Marisol wiped her hands and asked, "You want to leave a note?" I did. But not the note they expected. Not a screaming paragraph. Not a guilt trip. Just the truth. I wrote it on plain paper in neat handwriting and set it right in the center of the bare coffee table. I was understanding for a long time. I'm choosing myself now. Everything removed was purchased and paid for by me, under my accounts, with receipts. I'm safe. I'm not arguing. I'm done. Alana. Then I took one last look at the space where the couch used to be, and I walked out. Not as a villain. As a woman who finally stopped shrinking. That afternoon, I signed the lease on a small apartment across town, nothing fancy, but bright, clean, and mine. The kind of place where silence didn't feel like punishment, where peace felt like something I was allowed to have. That night, I sat on my own couch, now set up in my new living room, ate takeout on a moving box, and felt my phone buzzing over and over.
Mom.
Dad.
Kendra.
I didn't answer.
Not yet.
Because the storm they were about to unleash, they could do it in their own empty house. And for the first time in years, I smiled, not because I was understanding, but because I was free. By Sunday night, my phone had gone completely quiet. That scared me more than the nonstop calls ever could have. I was sitting cross-legged on my new couch, eating noodles straight from the container, when a single notification finally popped up. Mom, we're home. Nothing else. No emojis. No exclamation points. No passive-aggressive heart. Just 2 words. I didn't reply. I waited. Because I already knew what they were about to walk into. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. This time it was my dad. I let it ring out. Then again. Then Kendra. Then the text messages started stacking up like dominoes falling. Kendra. What did you do? Mom. Alana, this isn't funny.
Dad. Call us. Now.
I imagined it clearly without being there. The front door opening. Suitcases rolling in. The light switch flipping on. And then the silence. No hum of the fridge. No familiar glow from the TV. No couch to drop onto after a long trip. No Wi-Fi connecting automatically like it always did. Just empty space where comfort used to be. Just their voices bouncing off bare walls. I didn't feel guilt. I felt calm. I finally answered when Mom called again, her name lighting up my screen like a warning sign. "Where are you?" she demanded the second I said hello. "I moved," I said evenly. "You moved," she repeated, like the word didn't make sense in her mouth. "Yes." "Alana, the house." "The house is fine," I interrupted gently. "Everything that's still there belongs to you." There was a sharp inhale. The internet is gone. The living room is empty. The washer. "I canceled the service and took my appliances," I said. "They're in my name." Kendra's voice cut in from the background, high and angry. "You stole from us." "No," I replied. "I took my things." Dad finally spoke, his voice tight. "You embarrassed us." I almost laughed.
But I didn't.
"I stayed home while you went on vacation," I said quietly. "I paid bills while you made memories. I was told to be understanding, remember?" Mom scoffed. "We're your family." "And I was your support system," I replied. "Those aren't the same thing." Silence. The kind that means someone's trying to come up with a comeback and can't find one that doesn't sound ugly. Mom tried again, softer this time. "You could have talked to us." "I did," I said. "For years. You just didn't hear me." Dad sighed like he was tired. Like I was an inconvenience. "So what now?" I looked around my new apartment. The sunlight coming through the window. The quiet that felt safe instead of lonely. "Now," I said, "I live my life." Kendra laughed bitterly in the background. "You think this makes you some kind of winner?" I smiled to myself. "I think it makes me done." I hung up before anyone could say something they couldn't take back. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The next morning, I woke up to a message from Marisol. "You okay?" I texted back. Better than okay. Because I was. With the chaos behind me, things started to move forward fast. I picked up extra shifts. I cooked real meals. I sat in my own space without bracing myself for criticism or obligation. A week later, my dad emailed me, formal, stiff, like he was writing to a coworker instead of his daughter. He asked if we could discuss arrangements. I didn't respond. Not until I was ready. And when I finally was, I replied with one sentence. "I'm open to conversation. I'm not open to being taken for granted again." For the first time, the power balance wasn't tilted. It was even, and that scared them. But it freed me, because revenge doesn't always look like yelling or destroying things. Sometimes it looks like walking away cleanly and refusing to come back smaller. 2 weeks passed. Not a single call. Not a single "how are you?" Just silence. And for once, silence didn't hurt, it healed. I filled my evenings with small things that felt big, because they were mine. I bought plants and didn't worry about anyone complaining they were in the way. I rearranged my furniture without asking permission. I played music out loud while cooking, not caring if someone thought it was too loud or not their taste. Then one afternoon, my manager pulled me aside at work. "Alana," she said, smiling in that careful way managers do when they're about to say something important, "we're opening a new assistant supervisor position. I recommended you." I blinked. "Me? You're reliable. You cover shifts. Customers ask for you by name."
She paused.
"And, honestly, you don't complain." I almost laughed at that last part. "I'd like to apply," I said. I got the position 3 days later. It came with a raise. Not a massive one, but enough to make breathing easier. That night, I treated myself to takeout and ate at my small kitchen table, the city lights glowing through my window like a quiet celebration. My phone buzzed mid-bite. "Dad." I stared at the screen for a long moment before answering. "Alana," he said, his voice different this time. Quieter. "We need to talk." "We already are," I replied calmly. He cleared his throat. "Your mom's been upset." I waited. She didn't realize how much you were covering. I smiled faintly. Not because it felt good, but because it felt late. I kept records, I said. You never asked to see them. There was a long pause. Kendra's struggling without the internet, he added, like that was my responsibility. She can open her own account, I replied. He sighed. You've changed. Yes, I said. I had to. A few days later, Mom finally texted. We'd like to have dinner. Just us. To clear the air. I agreed on my terms. We met at a small restaurant near my apartment.
Public.
Neutral.
Safe.
Mom looked tired. Dad looked older.
Kendra barely met my eyes.
I didn't know you felt so used, Mom said, folding her napkin. I told you. I replied gently. You just didn't hear it. Kendra scoffed. You didn't have to empty the house. I didn't, I said evenly. I removed what I paid for. Dad nodded slowly. We assumed you'd always be there. That was the problem, I said. The check came. I paid for my meal only. And for the first time in my life, no one argued with me about it. When I walked home that night, the air felt lighter, like something had finally settled into place. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free and finally moving forward. The real change didn't happen overnight. It came quietly. In the weeks after that dinner, my family stopped asking me for things and started asking me how I was. It felt awkward at first, like learning a new language none of us were fluent in. But it was different.
Real.
One Saturday morning, I woke up to sunlight pouring through my windows and realized something surprising. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't replaying old conversations in my head. I wasn't drafting imaginary arguments while brushing my teeth. The knot in my chest, the one I thought was just part of who I was, had loosened. I'd outgrown the version of myself that survived by shrinking. Then came the call I didn't expect. It was my mom. Alana, she said, careful but sincere. Your father and I talked. About everything. I waited. We want to restructure the house finances, she continued. Fairly. Or, if you want out completely, we'll refinance and buy out your portion. My heart skipped, not from panic, but relief. I want out, I said after a moment. No fighting. Just clean. She nodded, even though I couldn't see it. Okay. 3 months later, I signed the papers. The check I received wasn't life-changing, but it was validating. Proof that what I'd contributed had value, even if it took walking away for them to see it. I used part of it to pay down debt. I used part of it to finally replace my car. And with the rest, I did something small but meaningful. I booked my own trip. Nothing flashy. Just a few days by the ocean, a quiet hotel, and a view that belonged only to me. On the second morning, sitting on the balcony with coffee warming my hands, my phone buzzed. A photo from Mom. The living room, new couch, different style. The caption read, "Hope you're doing well. We miss you." I smiled. I replied with a photo of my ocean view and typed, "I am. I hope you are too." No bitterness. No guilt. Just honesty. When I came home, my apartment felt exactly the way it always should have. Peaceful. Earned. I hosted friends. I laughed louder. I made plans without checking anyone else's schedule. And sometimes, when I think back to that empty house and the echoing voices, I don't feel triumph. I feel clarity. They lost convenience. I gained a life. And that was the happiest ending I could have given myself.